Hi Reddit. I'm Marcus, 35. And before I even start, I already know some of you won't believe me. That's fine. I barely believe it myself. But if I don't get this out, if I don't write down what happened, I'm going to lose it. And maybe someone out there will read this and not feel as stupid, as blind, as used as I do. Because what happened to me didn't just break my marriage. It broke me. It started with a fight about juice boxes. No joke. The dumbest thing. My son, had apparently taken 2 juice boxes to school instead of 1. My wife, Sarah, was going off on me for not controlling him. She said I made her look like the mean parent. I snapped. I said, "Why are you always so hard on him? He's just a kid." And she snapped back with, "You're so defensive over a child that's not even yours." I froze. She blinked like she didn't even realize what she said. Then she laughed. Actually laughed. "Oh my God, you didn't know?" I stared at her, waiting for her to say it was a joke. She didn't. She just said, "Well, I guess we're doing this now." I felt something crack in my chest, like a bone broke without sound. I said nothing, just walked into the bathroom and locked the door. Sat on the floor next to the sink. For 15 minutes. Mind racing. Because here's the thing. I raised him. I named him. I was there when he had his first fever, when he broke his arm falling off the monkey bars, when he cried after his first nightmare and crawled into bed with me. I changed his diapers. I taught him how to tie his shoes. I was there for it all. So if I'm not his dad, then who the hell am I? When I finally came out, Sarah was on the couch, watching a show like nothing had happened. I asked her straight up, "Is he mine?" She shrugged. "Does it matter? You raised him. You love him. That's what counts, right?" I stood there shaking. "Who's the father?" That's when she got nasty. "Why does it matter now? You were the better option. The stable one. The one with benefits and a 401k. No apology. No emotion. Just the coldest words I've ever heard. You were always just the better provider." I left that night. Slept in my car in the Walmart parking lot. Not because I didn't have friends or places to go, but because I didn't want anyone to see me like that. Shaking. Crying. Feeling like my chest had been split open with a crowbar. How do you even explain something like that? Oh hey, turns out my marriage was built on a lie and my son might be some other guy's kid. But how are you? For the next few days, I crashed at a buddy's place. Didn't tell him why. Told him Sarah and I were taking space. But every night, I stared at the ceiling and replayed every moment of the past 12 years. Her pregnancy, the way she used to joke he had your eyes, but my attitude, the way she always avoided any talk about paternity tests, even when my mom brought it up as a precaution. And suddenly it all made sense. She knew. She always knew. And she let me build a life around her lie. The part that eats me alive? I never doubted him. Not once. Even when people said he didn't really look like me. Even when timelines didn't fully make sense. Even when Sarah would get weird anytime someone brought up our miracle baby. I wanted to be a dad so badly, I chose to be blind. Worse, I was proud of that. I told myself being a father had nothing to do with DNA, that I'd love him no matter what. But you know what? That's easy to say until someone uses that against you. Until they build an entire fake world around that virtue, just because you were the safe choice. On the 3rd day, I went back to the house. He ran to the door when he saw me. "Dad!" He jumped into my arms, and I hugged him like nothing had changed. Because for him, nothing had. He didn't lie. He didn't know. He's just a kid. A kid who thinks I'm his dad. Because I am. Right? Right? Sarah stood in the hallway, arms crossed, smirking, like she'd already won. Like I wouldn't do anything because she had the leverage. And maybe she was right. Because I didn't yell, didn't scream, didn't expose her in front of him. I just said, "We need to talk. Alone." She rolled her eyes, but followed me to the back patio. And there, in the place where we had backyard BBQs and birthday parties and late-night wine conversations, I asked her again, "Who's the father?" She smirked. Actually smirked. "You wouldn't know him. He was fun, though. Not very responsible. You came along at just the right time." I stood up, walked back inside. She followed me, whispering, "Don't be dramatic." But I looked her in the eye and said, "I'm getting a DNA test. And if he's not mine, I want full custody." Her smile cracked, just a bit. And for the first time since that juice box fight, she looked nervous. That was the beginning of what became the ugliest, most soul-destroying year of my life. And Reddit, I'm going to tell you everything. What the test said, what happened in court, what I found out after digging deeper. Because it turns out this wasn't just one lie. It was a whole life built on lies. And I let it happen. I didn't sleep the night. I told her I'd get a DNA test. I just stared at the ceiling, running through every possible outcome, every emotion I thought I was done feeling. Rage, betrayal, heartbreak, confusion, like my mind couldn't settle on one, so it cycled them all like a playlist from hell. I wasn't even sure what I was hoping for anymore. That I was the father? That I wasn't? That it was all a sick joke, and she'd admit it never happened? Deep down, I already knew, but I needed proof. So I made the appointment the next day. The nurse was nice. Too nice. She had one of those smiles, she's been trained to keep on her face no matter how messed up your situation is. My kid, no, screw it, I'll still say my kid, came in with me. He was excited, so it felt like science class. I smiled back, pretended everything was fine. Inside, I was crumbling. Every swab felt like a betrayal. Every form I signed was another cut. I had to list myself as the alleged father. Alleged. That word hit like a punch to the throat. They said it would take 5 business days. Longest 5 days of my life. I didn't go home. I didn't call Sarah. I checked in with my son once by text, but kept it short. She didn't even try to stop me. That part hurt more than anything. She didn't try to fight for me. She didn't even pretend to care. It was like the moment the truth came out, she just shrugged and started detaching like I was a broken appliance she could finally throw away. Day 3, I caved. I called my mom. She knew something was wrong the second she heard my voice. I hadn't told her the full story yet. Just said Sarah and I were figuring things out. Now I told her everything. From the juice box argument to the better provider comment to the test. Silence on the other end. Then, I never trusted that girl. Mom, no. Listen, she always looked at you like you were a stepping stone. I didn't say anything because you loved her. But now I wish I had. Do you think I'm stupid? She paused. No, I think you were a man who loved his son. That doesn't make you stupid. That makes you a father. I cried after that call. Not the loud, dramatic kind. Just a quiet breakdown. The kind where you're too exhausted to scream anymore. Where your whole body just gives in. Because until that moment, I didn't know if I was grieving a lie or a loss. And maybe it was both. Day 5. The results came in. I didn't read the email right away. Just stared at the notification like it might explode. Eventually, I opened it. 99.997%, not the biological father. I read it 5 times. Sat in my car in the clinic parking lot and just stared out the window. I should have been prepared. But there's no way to prepare for the moment your identity as a father gets ripped from you by a few lines of cold medical text. I wasn't his dad. Not by blood. Not by biology. Not on paper. I thought about going home and confronting her. Screaming. Throwing the results on the kitchen table and demanding she tell our son, my son, the truth. But something stopped me. Because suddenly, I wasn't sure what I wanted. Did I want revenge? Did I want custody? Did I want to cut them both off and disappear? Did I even have the right? He wasn't mine, but he called me dad. He still called me dad. So what the hell do you even do with that? Later that night, Sarah called me. I didn't answer. She texted, "We need to talk. You got the results, didn't you?" I still didn't reply. Then she sent the one thing that completely screwed with my head. "He's asking why you disappeared." That broke me, because that's the one thing I didn't want, to hurt him, to let her lie become his trauma. I called her back. No pleasantries. Just straight to it. "I'm coming tomorrow. You tell him the truth. I'll be there to explain my side. He's too young. He's not stupid. This isn't your call. You made it my call the second you turned my life into a con job." She hung up. I didn't sleep again that night. I kept thinking about his face, his laugh, the way he still called me dad in that innocent, automatic way. Would he hate me for not being his real father? Would he hate me for leaving? Would he even remember me in 10 years? What scared me the most? That maybe I wanted him to forget. That maybe walking away would be easier than facing this pain every time I looked in his eyes. And I hated myself for that. The next morning, I went to the house. He was sitting on the couch, playing Switch. He lit up when he saw me. "Dad," I smiled barely. "Hey, bud." Sarah appeared from the hallway, arms folded, expression cold. We're not doing this right now. I stepped closer. Yes, we are. He looked confused. Doing what? And Reddit. I'll never forget what she said next. She knelt down, held his shoulders, and said, with zero emotion, "He's not your real dad." Just like that. No build-up, no grace, no explanation. Just ripped the Band-Aid off with a smile on her face like she was proud of it. He looked at her, then at me, then back at her. What? He's not your father. Biologically. I thought you were old enough to know now. My heart shattered. I didn't even know what to say. But then this kid, this amazing, innocent kid, turned to me and said, "But you're still my dad, right?" I swallowed hard. Try not to cry. Only if you want me to be. I'm ending this part here because the next phase, it got messy. Court, custody, therapy, and one last twist I didn't see coming about the real father. Yeah, that guy finally showed up. And what he wanted, let's just say I didn't let it go unanswered. Let me tell you about the moment everything snapped. Not the lie, not the DNA result, not even when Sarah told our kid, no, her kid, that I wasn't his real dad with the emotional tone of someone ordering coffee. No, it was when the biological father showed up. It was 2 weeks after the reveal. I've been seeing Liam, yeah, that's his name, every few days. We go for walks, hang out at the park, grab pizza. Keep things casual. I didn't want to overwhelm him. I didn't want to disappear either. He still called me dad. He also started asking hard questions. Did mommy know you were my real dad? Are you mad at me? Am I allowed to still love you? Those questions tore me apart more than the DNA test ever could. I told him the truth, my truth, that I loved him no matter what, that grown-ups mess up, that none of this was his fault. Then came the knock on my apartment door. Middle of the day. I wasn't expecting anyone. Guy standing outside. Mid-30s. Cocky posture. Aviators. You Marcus? Who's asking? He took off the glasses, smiled, and said, "I'm Liam's father." And I swear to God, Reddit almost punched him right then and there. He introduced himself as Travis. Said he just found out a few weeks ago when Sarah came clean. Said he wanted to step up. I didn't say anything for a while. Just stared at him like he was a ghost. Because here's the thing. I'd imagined this guy 1,000 times. Was he a fling? A mistake? A one-night stand? Was he the type of guy who'd vanish the second diapers or rent were mentioned? Turns out, he was worse. He was exactly the kind of man Sarah deserved. Travis told me he wanted to be in Liam's life now. That he was ready. I asked him, "Where the hell were you the last 12 years? He shrugged. Didn't know. If I had, I would have stepped up. Probably. Probably? He grinned. You're the one who raised him, man. Respect. But I'm his blood. There it was. That smug tone. The unspoken message. You did the hard part. Now I'll take the credit. He asked if I wanted to split time. Said it like he was offering me half a pizza. I told him I'd think about it. Then I closed the door. Sat on the couch. Hands shaking. Not out of fear. Out of rage. Because this man, this stranger, wanted to walk into my kid's life like he earned it. And Sarah? She didn't warn me. She didn't even have the decency to mention him. I called her. Straight to voicemail. I texted. So Travis just showed up. This your idea of a good co-parenting plan? She replied, he deserves a chance. He's the real father. I stared at that sentence for 5 full minutes. Then I wrote back, you don't get to erase 12 years because the sperm donor showed up in a leather jacket. No reply. I called my lawyer. Told him everything. He told me flat out, you have no legal rights unless you go for custody. Even if I'm not the biological dad. Especially if. But we've got grounds. Emotional bonds. Consistency. History. Family court favors stability. And if the mother fights it, it'll get ugly. You in? I said yes. And I meant it. The petition was filed a week later. Joint custody. On the basis of psychological parenthood. Sarah was served at work. She lost her mind. Started calling me nonstop. Accused me of manipulation. Said I was ruining her life and confusing Liam. Then she played the Travis card. He's willing to be a real father. Why can't you let him? My reply? Where the hell was he when Liam had pneumonia at 3 a.m. and we thought he'd stop breathing? She had nothing to say to that. Court was scheduled 6 weeks out. In the meantime, Travis showed up everywhere. At Liam's soccer game. At school pickup. even at the damn grocery store. Like he was trying to prove he was present. Worse, Sarah acted like they were together now, holding hands, laughing, playing family, in front of Liam, in front of me. Like the last 12 years were just a prequel for their messed up reunion. One night, Liam called me crying. They told me I have to start calling him Dad. I nearly threw my phone across the room. I told him, "You call people what you want. No one can force you. But what if Mommy gets mad?" I didn't know what to say, because the truth is, she probably would. And that's when I knew this wasn't just about custody. It was about protecting him from people who saw him as property, as leverage, as some kind of sick prize. A few days later, I got a letter from Sarah's lawyer. She was countering full custody to her. Travis listed as biological father. And me? Nothing. No weekends. No visitation. No rights. Just a guy who was emotionally involved, but ultimately not the legal parent. That night, I sat alone in my car outside my apartment and finally admitted something I'd been avoiding. I was scared. Scared I'd lose. Scared I'd have to watch Liam grow up from a distance. Scared I'd become just a story he was told when he was older. But then I remembered something. A moment from when Liam was 6. He'd had a nightmare. Came into our room, sobbing. I picked him up, rocked him back and forth, and whispered over and over, "I've got you. I'll always be here." And I meant it. So I had 2 choices. Walk away, or make that promise mean something. I chose to fight. And trust me, Reddit, you haven't seen the real twist yet. Because Travis? He had skeletons in his closet, and I was about to rip the door off. I wasn't going to lose. That thought looped in my head for days like a war drum. I wasn't going to let Sarah erase me. I wasn't going to let Travis waltz in and rewrite history like I was some babysitter with attachment issues. So I did what I had to. I started digging. My lawyer said we needed leverage. We had emotional bonding, consistency, school records with my name as emergency contact, medical forms I signed, tax returns listing him as my dependent. It was decent, but we needed more. Because biologically, I had nothing. Sarah and Travis were waving the DNA test around like a golden ticket. They wanted me gone. I wasn't going quietly. I called in a favor from a friend, Jenna, who works for a private firm. She's not technically a PI, but she might as well be. HR background, does corporate deep dives, knows how to comb through social data, public records, employment history, sealed stuff, all of it. She asked me one question. "You want dirt or the whole damn grave?" I said, "Dig till you hit the casket." 3 days later, I had a file. Thick one. I flipped it open on my kitchen table and nearly laughed out loud from the disbelief. Travis wasn't just an absent father. He was a walking liability. 2 DUIs, both under different aliases. A dropped domestic violence case from 6 years ago. Victim withdrew the statement, but the report was there. Unpaid child support in another state. And the cherry on top? He had another kid, 7 years old. Same age Liam was when he broke his arm, and I carried him into urgent care, tears streaming down both our faces. Travis had another kid, whom he abandoned. I don't remember putting the file down. I just sat there in silence for maybe an hour. Not because I was surprised, but because I was furious at myself for thinking, even for 1 second, that Travis might actually care. He didn't want Liam. He wanted to win. He wanted to be the man, the dad, the hero, the story, because in his mind, Liam was just a way to rewrite his own failures. And Sarah? She either didn't know or didn't care. I sent everything to my lawyer. He said 2 words. We win. Next came the deposition phase. Sarah tried to be smug, showed up in a cream blazer like she was going on The View. Travis came in like he was walking into a casting call. Fresh haircut, oversized watch, cocky smile. Then my lawyer handed their side a copy of the report. Their faces changed fast. Sarah went pale. Travis blinked like he didn't know whether to run or argue. "You spying on me now?" "Just reading public records," my lawyer replied calmly. "That crap ain't admissible. It's not just admissible. It's relevant and damning." The next part was wild. Sarah's lawyer pulled her outside. 10 minutes passed. She came back in with tears in her eyes. Not because she was sorry, but because she realized she'd backed the wrong horse. She'd bet on a real father and found out she'd hitched Liam to a walking dumpster fire. And just like that, her case began to fall apart. We got supervised visitation locked in for Travis. Limited access. No solo custody. Court-monitored communication. Sarah was still fighting me. Said I was manipulative and obsessed with control. I didn't care anymore. Because here's the truth. I didn't want her back. I didn't want to punish her. I just wanted my son safe. And loved. And out of reach for men who only wanted to own, not raise. About a week later, Liam called me crying again. Said Travis had yelled at him. He said I was acting like a baby. What were you doing? I asked if you could come too. I swear to God, I saw red. I drove over. Didn't knock. Sarah opened the door, eyes wide. You can't just. Where's Liam? She tried to block me. I moved past her. Liam was in his room, hugging his knees. I sat next to him. He looked up at me, eyes watery. You're still my dad, right? I didn't even hesitate. I'll always be your dad. That was the night I made a final decision. I was going for sole custody. No joint anything. No shared schedule. No uncertainty. Just me and him. Because Sarah didn't protect him. Travis didn't deserve him. And Liam? He deserved better than being tugged back and forth like a rope in some ego war. He deserved peace. Court came fast after that. My lawyer filed the updated request. Sarah tried to fight it. Said I was weaponizing old records. Judge didn't buy it. Especially when we brought in testimony from Liam's school counselor, who confirmed that Liam was confused, scared, and emotionally more stable with me. The judge ordered a temporary full custody shift to me. Sarah lost visitation for 2 weeks. Travis was denied all access until a psych eval. And for the first time in a long time, I could breathe. Liam's been staying with me full-time since then. He sleeps better. He smiles more. He still has questions. And I still don't have all the answers. But one thing is clear. He feels safe here. And every time I tuck him in, every time he hugs me before bed and says, "Love you, Dad," I realize something I didn't fully believe back when all this started. Blood doesn't define you, but actions do. I'm his father, not because of DNA, but because I never left. One more court date's coming, final custody ruling. Sarah's team is pushing for limited joint. Mine's locking in full legal and physical custody. And Travis? He disappeared. No shows. Missed court. Missed his eval. Missed everything. He did what men like him always do when things get real. He ran. Court day. I woke up before the sun. Liam was still sleeping. Curled up, clutching the stuffed tiger I gave him on his second birthday. The one he still insists on keeping, even though he tells me he's basically grown up. I stood in the doorway for a while. Thinking how far we'd come, thinking how close I was to finally protecting him fully without interference, and thinking how I never want to set foot in a courtroom again after this. When I walked into the building, Sarah was already there. She looked different, smaller, tired, eyes sunken. Her lawyer was talking, but she was staring past him like she'd already lost. Travis wasn't there. Again, no show, no message, no excuse. His lawyer had already withdrawn. No defense. No support. Nothing. The sperm donor was officially out of the picture. But Sarah, she still had some fight left. Even if it was just bitter scraps. Inside, the judge was calm but direct. We submitted everything. School records, counselor statements, child services interviews. My lawyer walked the judge through everything. Liam's emotional dependence on me. The mental impact of Sarah and Travis forcing titles and roles on him. The fact that Travis had a known pattern of abandoning kids. The stability I provided for over a decade. Then Sarah's lawyer stood, said I was vindictive, that I was punishing her for the past, that I had no legal claim. The judge didn't even flinch, just flipped through the folder of documents we'd submitted and said, the child's well-being comes before biology. Always. After an hour of back and forth, the judge looked up. Based on evidence, testimonies, and the child's best interest, I'm granting sole legal and physical custody to Mr. Hayes. That was it. Simple. Final. Done. No appeals. No delays. Liam was mine. On paper. In court. And always in my heart. Outside, Sarah ran after me. I didn't want to talk. She called my name 3 times before I stopped. She looked like she'd aged 5 years in 5 weeks. Makeup half done. Hair a mess. But still with that same twisted tone of superiority and victimhood. You didn't have to take it that far. I turned slowly. You lied to me for 12 years. He's still my son. You gave him to a man with 2 DUIs and a history of domestic abuse. You chose that over me. I didn't know. You didn't want to know. She opened her mouth to argue. I kept going. You were willing to let someone who abandoned his other kid replace me. For what? Because he was the real dad? Let me tell you something, Sarah. Any man can be a donor. But I was the one who stayed up when he had a fever. I was the one who read to him every night. I was the one who taught him how to ride a bike. I paused. You didn't just lie. You let him think he was a mistake. Tears welled up in her eyes. But I felt nothing. Not pity. Not hate. Just nothing. So what now? She whispered. Now. I said, you go live your life. And Liam lives his with me. I walked away. She didn't follow. That night, Liam and I celebrated. Just us. Pizza. Root beer. One of those terrible action movies he loves where every character yells and nothing makes sense. I didn't tell him everything. Not yet. He's still too young to carry all the weight his mother put on my shoulders. But one day I will. And when I do, I'll tell him this. I chose you every day, even when no one else did. A week later, I got a letter in the mail. From Travis. Typed. Short. Didn't mean for things to get messy. Just wanted to know him. Guess that's not happening. Take care of him. That was it. No apology. No explanation. Just a man who couldn't handle being a real parent realizing it's too late to fake it. A month passed. Liam stopped asking about his other dad. Stopped asking why mommy wasn't around much. He started drawing us, just the two of us, with that stuffed tiger between us. He called it our crew. And me? I finally let go of the guilt. I stopped wondering what I could have done differently. Because the truth is, I did everything I could. And in the end, that was enough. So yeah, Reddit. This whole mess started with a lie. It tore me apart, wrecked every illusion I had, and left scars that'll never fully heal. But it also reminded me what kind of man I am. I'm a dad who stayed. I'm the dad who fought. And I'm the dad he'll remember. Always.